I'm Pat Darcy, president of the Pima County Sports Hall of Fame. This is my 10th year as president and my last year as president. So this time, Master of Ceremony Delano Price will come up here. Come on, baby.
Good morning. It's an honor to be here today to participate in this press conference. I've read recently where Pat Darcy said this is one of the top classes in this organization since its inception. And so, without further ado, let's meet these outstanding coaches, athletes, and teams. Our first inductee is Mark Barcelo. Mark is not in attendance today, but in his place, we're going to have a CDO baseball legend who knew Mark very well to come up and talk about Mark. Len Anderson. Okay, so Len, I see where Mark was a two-sport athlete at Saguaro, All-City in basketball, and a standout baseball player. Tell us about Mark and his ascension to stardom.
Well, I was at Pima College at the time and went out to Saguaro High School to recruit Mark. And he doesn't know this, but I went to one of his basketball games. You can kind of tell a little bit about an athlete, about how they perform in other sports and how they compete, not just in their main primary sport, but other sports as well. And he was a beast. He was at Saguaro High School and playing basketball. He was about 6'3" is all, but he would bully people around, and he was the kind of guy I liked. He would have shut you down big time. So and then of course I saw him play baseball and started recruiting him, and I thought he had a chance to be pretty good.
And so you coached, now did you coach Mark at Pima? Okay.
Yeah, he came to Pima in 1991 and 92, and in 91 we were really good. We had Jason Hockamy and was our #1, and you guys that have been around town for a while, you'll remember that. But Mark was our #2, and then in 92, he just put us all on his back, and we rode his right arm all the way to the national championship game in Grand Junction. And then he ended up going to ASU. U of A unfortunately didn't recruit him, and I'm still angry about that. And the only time I'll ever be a Sun Devil fan is when Mark was on the mound. But he could spin the ball with the best of them. First round pick by the Twins. And so he came from being an undrafted high school, pretty good high school player, to becoming a first round pick by the Twins. And so, you know, there's some guys that are pretty good in the bullpen, and then they don't do too well when they cross the lines. He was the other way around. As soon as he stepped across that line, got on the field, that other team was in big trouble. He could really spin it.
Well, and he ended up being Pac-10 Pitcher of the Year.
Yeah, and he beat Arizona to do it. And I can still remember him pitching against George Arias. And I didn't know who to root for, you know, because George was a Wildcat and was one of our guys at Pima, and then Mark, of course. And I'm not sure who got the best of that one, but
yeah. Well, I'll tell you what, we let another great guy get away to ASU. It was ended up being an NBA All-Star in basketball. So
Fat Leader.
There you go.
Yeah.
Okay,
Well, speaking of basketball, I know Mark wanted me to say something about this to you guys. One of his greatest memories was pitching to Michael Jordan. So if you guys remember, Jordan quit baseball or basketball for a couple years and went to go play baseball. And I think he got the AAA, I'm not sure. I know Mark faced him in either AA or AAA. And he wanted me to say that Jordan only went 1 for 6 off of him. He punched him out twice and got him to pop up a couple times, and he did give up a base hit, but he said it was weak through that. So that sounds like Barce anyway.
You know, final question, Lynn. Did Mark play for Hal Eustace, or who was his coach?
He did. Hal Eustace was a legendary baseball coach at Saguaro, and Mark was one of his guys, and so I was always appreciative of that, because when Mark came to me, he already knew how to pitch. He really did. He just needed some extra time and some more experience. But Hal got him ready to pitch college baseball, and he was a joy to have on the field. I'm telling you, you didn't want to dig in on him because he was Bob Gibson of Pima College. I can tell you that.
Well, we're looking forward to meeting Mark.
He'll be here. He'll be here for the banquet.
Thank you very much. Yes, sir. You bet. Okay, our next inductee is Chris Fanning. Chris has coached softball at Sarita High School for many years and has over 600 victories. Well, when you hear the number 600, you usually think of home runs or touchdown passes. That's quite a number and quite an achievement. You won several state championships. So talk about your career, about yourself, and how you went into coaching and how you became so successful.
Well, I don't know, but the success part is just talent. I've been blessed to have incredible players come through the program, and it's easy to coach when you have that kind of talent. But I got my start. I actually graduated from Sarita High School, played for a great baseball coach, had the opportunity to play baseball at New Mexico State. Again, great experience. And when I came, I taught 1 year in El Paso. A job opened up at Sarita, and I wanted to come home, so I took it. And it was the very first year of the program. They had never had softball at Sarita, so I was the very first coach in 1993. And there's been opportunities to go back to baseball at different times where we have openings, but I enjoyed the softball part of it. And other than a 3-year break when I was an assistant principal, I've been the softball coach there for 30 years. So it's been a great ride.
Have you noticed, what changes have you noticed over the years? We're in a social media age now. What changes have you noticed? I know sometimes kids' attention can be divided. It's hard to keep them focused. What is your key to being able to do that? I know you say talent, sure. There's no substitute. John Wooden once said there's no substitute for talent, as great as he was. But talk a little bit about that.
I think in terms of practice goes, I played for, like I said, great coaches, and one of the things that they did, they were always very organized, very structured, and they had a plan throughout practice. So I took that. My basketball coach in high school was Ron Boyer, and he always had a card and did things off that, and I just made a practice plan before every practice and held to that, and I just tried to keep as many people occupied at a time. Instead of having one person hit and 12 people out in the outfield just shagging, I always try to have different things going on at a time. So in terms of that, in terms of the focus during practice, I think they were very focused and very attention to what we were doing that day. Out of practice and on their own, like I said, before games you see them doing their little TikTok videos and just doing different things like that. But even when I started, the time that I had them on the field, there's no difference in my mind in terms of the attention to practice and their focus and doing the things that I kind of wanted them to do when we had practice.
What would you identify as your fondest memory or memories about coaching? I know there's probably been several.
Oh, just a ton. Like I said, just seeing the growth of the players throughout the program, seeing, I don't know a number, but I've had probably 30, 40, 50 of the girls go on to the next level to play. Not all Division I, but the junior college or Division II, Division III, NAIA, different things like that. So that's a great memory. And then just being with them, we try to do tournaments and just we do team bonding things throughout the course of the year, and just the experience of just seeing them grow as both individuals and players. And obviously the wins are fun, the state championships, but just I think the journey is the most rewarding for me. Well,
you certainly experienced a great deal of success, and we're looking forward to seeing you in November.
Thanks very much. I appreciate it.
This time, I'm going to call Steve Owen up. I'm going to go a little bit out of order here and call Steve Owen up, and he's going to talk about his career and his teammate Danny Nolan. make sure that you tell Danny I moved him up, because I remember that guy. He was one of the original Iron Men.
I'll get your microphone.
Okay. So talk about your career, your participation in judo. I know you and Danny. Was your coach Eli Noble?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I'd like you to talk about your time there, and then the impact that Eli Noble had on both of you guys.
I started out, I competed against Eli Noble, so there was a little tenseness there. I'm quite bigger than Eli, so that was the tenseness. Now it's, you know, what I really want to say is that there was 3 people that were really instrumental in me being part of the Pima College program. In 1970, well, at the beginning of Pima College, the Arizona Board of Regents mandated that there be no sports at Pima College. They wanted to keep it pure. So Eli Noble, Larry Toledo, Ted Farhat, and Diego approached me, and their spiel was that if they could produce a national champion or an All-American, they could go to the Arizona Board of Regents and petition to have sports. So it was kind of a really neat opportunity. They wanted to waive my tuition. In 1970, the tuition was $60, so it was a really big thing to waive. So anyway, Eli and I had competed against each other. And Eli was very, very instrumental in getting me there. Pima sent us a lot of tournaments. We did 19 tournaments. The one year, 20 the next. And if you do the math, that's like a tournament every other weekend. And most of that we drove by ourselves. Pima didn't have any money to pay for any sport. Most of the sports, Bob Moreno's here, he can tell you, most of the sports were considered club sports. And I can remember it was just the West Campus, so everything was strictly West Campus. It's not like going to a fancy high school.
Now, you and Danny both went to the 1980 Olympic trials, was it?
Yeah, we were in the Olympic Training Center. They did the trials there. That's a real, I only know how to be blunt. It's a pain in the ass. You already know that Jimmy Carter's going to boycott the Olympics, and that has nothing, sports has nothing to do with politics. So we were off again, on again. It's really hard to train for something like that. And we went ahead and did the trials with the knowledge that we probably weren't going to go anywhere. But we had the same thing with the World University team. Danny and I were both on the World University team, and they cut the funding. So it's like you're always knocking on the door and you don't quite get there. So, but you know your biggest deal is very much like marathon runners. You're really doing it for yourself to see how much you can improve, how much you can push yourself. But when you start doing the politics, as all you guys know, politics is just a dirty bedfellow. It's not what you want.
So, did Danny compete against Chris Taylor?
No.
Okay.
Chris Taylor was our Olympian. The alternate for Chris Taylor, I have convenient memory, I can't remember his name. But Danny fought the alternate, so it was kind of funny. The first junior Division II collegiate championships, they had to do everything by the rules they laid out. So it was mandatory that you have to have an exact weight. So generally on heavyweights, who are rather large fellows, they get on the scale and they get off. They don't do an actual weight. Part of that is the Toledo scale was what everybody was using. It only goes to 350 pounds. So because it required an exact weight, they weighed us in by half-hour increments. So I was the lightweight. I weighed in from 8 to 8:30. We wound up putting Danny at open weight, and he made his weight. And then I wanted to stick around and watch because they alternate for the Olympics. Has to have an exact weight. Well, there's no way this guy was 350 pounds, so they took him to a butcher shop. They put a harness on him with a ring, and they lifted him up. All right. So I got a Polaroid camera. This is like a giant flying pig, and he's up there, and I wouldn't let him put him back down. So everybody got a little mad at him, but that guy weighed 454 pounds. He put 2 guys out of the tournament just by landing on him. And Danny threw him, and our whole strategy on Danny was to run him to death and getting gassed and fall down. Instead, Danny throws him. I'm like, oh my God.
Yeah.
But the good thing is, he's not going to ask me this, so they actually have a grand championship in judo. Not anymore because everything's legal, so the lightweight 139-pounder beats the 154, beats the 176. On the heavyweight, he has to be under 205 heavyweight and open. And the winner of those two fight for grand champion. So I won the light bracket, Danny won the heavy bracket, so we're going to fight. And the coach that went with us was a photographer coach, a guy named Bob Terry. And he asked him if we got team points. And they said no. He says, well, we don't fight for free. So to this day, Danny will tell you he's the grand champion. He is not. Danny's a conniving Italian jerk. Okay? He's my best friend. So his idea of grand championship is we're going to play a game of horse. I can only hit the backboard from one area to the court. So Danny's idea of horse is he's going to move you around. So he's going to, when you hear, he's going to tell you he's the grand champion. He's not. He's the runner-up grand champion.
Yeah.
At that time, I was training him, so it should be me.
And you're the one that's going to tell him he's not. I'm not going to tell him. Congratulations. Thank you so much. Okay, our next inductee is Walt Haywood. Walt competed in track and field at Santa Rita High School. He's a member of the class of 1979. He won state championships in the long jump, 200 meters, and 4x100 relay. He would eventually go to the school up north, ASU, and where he won 2 Pac-10 titles in the 4x100. Quite an impressive resume. I know we spoke previously about, boy, that line of great track and field runners at the Santa Rita High School, Lucius Miller,
yes, sir.
Danny Jackson,
yes, sir.
and others, and now you. So talk about how you became interested in track and field and your success, and just give us a synopsis of your track and field life.
Track and field. So how I became interested in track and field is my sister. She was actually faster than me until I was 14. So if you put that in respect, I ran a 9.5 city record at age 14, and my sister could outrun me until then.
That's impressive.
She just wasn't interested in track and field. My mother was a two-letter athlete at Savannah State. And so it was just in the genes.
Now, you said, was your sister older than you?
She was, a year and a half.
I can relate to that because I had older sisters and I became fast because I was running from them. So,
right.
talk a little bit about your, you say you were coached by Coach Bill Bland.
Yes, sir.
And talk about that experience at Santa Rita and some of your teammates.
So the first year, Coach Bland, he had a plan, and he had positions that he had to fill on for scoring for state, and so he made me a hurdler. I didn't like hurdles, and he was trying to get me to pole vault, and I had weak shoulders. So I'm like, Coach, I don't like hurdles. I can outrun everybody out here. Yeah, but I need you to do hurdles. And so we did that for 2 years. And he finally, at Saguaro High School, said, Walt, I'm gonna let you run the 100. I'm like, thank you. So I ran the 100 and set the city record at 9.5. He goes, I didn't know you could do it. I was like, Coach, I was telling you, didn't like the hurdles. the 110-meter hurdles were so long, and at the time, I was 4'9" trying to run the high hurdles, and it was difficult for me. So.
And now you went from Santa Rita High School to Arizona State, where you became a Pac-10 champion. Talk about that experience.
So I went from Santa Rita with no prospects of going to college. Nobody was interested in me. I was one of the fastest kids in the country in high school. And so one of the coaches at Pima approached me and said, "Come run for me." I said, "Okay." And I went to Pima. Did 2 years there. I was All-American, junior college All-American in 100 meters and 200 meters my freshman year. And then I had an injury. First meet in my sophomore year, and so I came back from injury. I couldn't qualify in 100 or 200 because you have to have the time qualifications. And so I qualified in the long jump. And so I became an All-American, junior college All-American in the long jump. So I was a 3-time All-American, junior college All-American at Pima. And so I kept going to Willie Williams, and Willie Williams said, I'll give you books and fees, but I can't give you a scholarship. I'm looking at this guy that you ran against, and I beat Peter Okadobi.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he was looking at him for the scholarship, and I said, "But I beat Peter." He goes, "But no." I'm like, books and fees. I was like, okay. So Bruce Frankie approached me, came down, talked to me and my mother and my father, and he says, "Look, I've been following your career for a few years, and I'd like you to run for me." I said, "Okay." So I went up to Arizona State. I crossed over. Sorry, guys.
Yeah.
Went up to
We'll
Arizona
forgive you
State.
for that.
Thank you. But while up there, I got the opportunity to compete and train with Olympians such as Ron Brown, Dwayne Evans, Howard Henley, Kenny Robinson, who won Pac-10 in the 100 meters. So it was a good career. I had a really good time.
That's fantastic. Well, we're looking forward to seeing you in November. Congratulations.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, our next inductee is Wayne Jones. Wayne played collegiate league football at Purdue University. He said he had quite a career in coaching. He coached at the U of A and, of course, Mountain View High School, where he took over the head coaching job in 1993, was it, Coach? Where you guys won the state championship?
That's when we won the state championship.
Won the state championship with a pretty good horse you had in running back, Kevin Smitsky.
And his brother and a few others.
And his brother and a few others. Coach, you've done the gamut. Talk about your career, your transition from playing as a player into coaching and your successes.
When I went to Purdue, I would never be recruited today. One, I can't run, I don't have great speed, and I don't have a great arm. But things were different. I was talking to a guy the other day, and when football was over in high school and then in college, you never picked up a football until the next season. You just automatically went to the next sport. And for us developing as a football player, it was all done in season. We had probably close to 100 freshmen at Purdue when I showed up in '56. And the number every night, you would hear taxis coming up, and guys getting into taxis and going back home. And the numbers dwindled down. Also, football has changed quite a bit. At the time, we didn't have an offensive team and a defensive team. We played both ways. And we substituted entire teams. So you could be a second string quarterback and get as much playing time as the first quarterback. We have some baseball people over here. Well, Jerry Kendall was shortstop at Minnesota. The quarterback that I was playing with was Bernie Allen, and he was the second baseman on that particular team. He also was a drum major. In high school, he went off the field at halftime to twirl the baton. Quite versatile. But my first coaching job, this goes back here again, 1962. I went in for an interview, and I had the application in my pocket, and the superintendent said, I have two criteria for this job. He said, one, you have to be a Purdue man, and two, you played high school football in Ohio. That was it. And I had the job. He didn't do me any favors, because they had won 2 games in 2 years. So I got lucky. When we talk about having good talent, I had a little kid, Billy Ross, the 3rd year, because the first 3 years I was starting to look for another job, or the school board was probably looking for another coach. And Billy Ross, for 3 years we ran him. He stayed healthy, and our record was completely turned around, and I went from the smallest school in the conference to the largest school in the conference. And immediately I became a very good coach at the high school level, because we had 2,900 kids in 3 grades. At graduations, kids walked across the court I had never seen before in school. They could have played for a lot of people. And then after going back to Purdue, I had a chance to go back and play with my position coach, who had got the head job, Bobby Moss, and we were there for 3 years. And then I went with Tony Mason to Cincinnati, from Cincinnati out here. Went out of coaching for a period of time, went into sales, and hated every minute of it, and started looking back at how to get back into coaching. And Dan Post, who was the school board president at Marana, just happened to be one of the guys I was dealing with in sales. And he told me to go over and talk to Lynn Edwards, the principal, because she was hiring. And I went over, and I couldn't get in to see her. I thought I could just walk in and see the principal. It didn't work that way. So I went back out and told Dan the situation. He said, go tell her that I think it would be good for her to talk to you. So the next time I went in, I got actually taken into her office with the athletic director, from Marana at the time. I was interviewed, I was given the job, only to find out later that when I went to the school board meeting, the job had never been posted. So they had to ask me if I would reapply for the job. And I got into a great situation because I had a principal who was very knowledgeable about athletics. Her husband had been the AD up at CHC. And the support we got and the opportunity to bring in coaches like Paul Schmidt and Earl Faison, Mike Dawson, just a wealth of talent that made the coaching much easier.
Coach, you are part of a select fraternity of head coaches in Tucson history that have a facility named for you. You think of names like Roland Gridley from Tucson High, Vern Friedley, Amphi, Curly Santa Cruz, Pueblo, and you remember that you are a member of that fraternity. Talk about what that honor meant to you.
Well, like I said, it was kind of a culmination of a lot of things. I kid about it and said this was in lieu of getting paid for the years that I was coaching. But being recognized this way is it's hard to explain. My family, I married a Tucson girl. We have 2 boys, their kids. Everybody's within 15 minutes of where I live. To be able to walk over there, you do it with a lot of pride.
You, I read where I believe you had the 5th highest win total in Tucson history among head football coaches. Is that correct?
I understand that's correct. Yeah. At the time I retired, I'm not sure what the figures were, but I keep thinking, I had a life before coaching here, and I had wins in 62 to 69. They never get counted.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I tell you what, we're very proud of your success, Coach, and congratulations.
Thank you.
Okay, Jeff Kern. How you doing, buddy? You know, I told you before the program started, I've been reading the sports page for the past, well, as far back as I can remember, and I remember seeing your name in there quite often. I mean, winning city amateur championships and competing in the PGA and just a golf life. Talk about your life in golf and some of your memories of that.
Well, the writers here are always very generous to me. Every time they had a chance to put my name in the paper, they would. Jack Rickard, Greg Hansen, Sue Hill, back in the 70s, 80s. I'm much appreciated for that. I grew up in Tucson, and I played tennis in high school for a couple of years, but then I'd always go to tennis practice, and I had to go practice golf. And so my junior year, I switched to golf, and I just got a passion for it. Loved to play golf, loved to practice. It was an individual sport. Of course, I was a little heavier guy, so I couldn't keep with the guys on tennis court very well. I think the guys got mad at me a couple times. I made them run extra suicides because I couldn't do it fast enough. So I got into golf. My grandmother and uncle came out, and they would give me a 5-iron. I could go out and play. He'd give me a 5-iron. That's all I could have. You learn to hit that, then you can go on to other clubs. So I just enjoyed golf, and I got pretty good at it pretty quick. Of course, I put a lot of time into it. I really enjoyed the practice, and we had a good crew here. In '76, I started playing for a lot. We had a lot of amateur golf events here in Tucson back in the day, where there was a Izzy Saints Memorial or whatever memorials, Randolph Memorial, El Rio Memorial Tournament, stuff like that. So I got to play quite a bit and competed and earned some victories, which I liked, which is good. And so I got better and better, and then I just kept on playing. Eventually won a city amateur in '76 and '7. Won it in '78 actually, and then I had my accident, lost a couple fingers. I worked construction with my father. When I wasn't playing golf, I worked construction. Went to college for a couple semesters to play golf in California, Azusa Pacific, which I liked going over there. It was different, you know, it wasn't Arizona golf, which is really nice, so I liked that. Anyway, so I had the accident, lost my fingers, and they said, well, you won't probably never play golf again. Well, that didn't register with me at all, so it was actually 4 months later, I was actually defending champion of state amateur in '77 and '78 in the fall. I actually competed for 4 months after my accident, and so that was really cool. I tried the tour school. I was going to turn pro in '78, but I had to put that off for another year. We used to have tour schools twice a year back in the '70s and early '80s, before they made it a golf exempt tour. So I had 2 chances. Matter of fact, it only used to cost like $300 to try and qualify for the tour. Now it's like $5, $10 grand, whatever. So I was trying to do that, compete, played many tours. They had no Corn Ferry tours or nationwide tours, or back when I was doing, you had to go travel around and play many tours and stuff like that. I was fortunate to be able to play quite a bit of golf because I had some people. I used to play golf at Tucson Country Club. They let me play over there with Dr. Ed Updegraff, Fred Ickel, Freddie Boys. They let me play along with their men's group. And so I got to play some competitive golf with them as not a young adult. They were old, of course. So that was good, competitive. They put together a group for me to help me go out and play mini tour golf and try and qualify for the tour. So I did that for several years. 1984 came around. I had my first child then, and so I kind of hung up the sticks as far as competitive golf. I got my amateur status back, and I think it was '88. I got my amateur status back. So then I started competing in the city amateurs and stuff. So that's the 9 times I win, because it was spread out over 30 years or whatever it was. So that's kind of where I get, and I just, I did try, when I turned 50, I tried again. I turned pro again. I tried to qualify for the senior event. Of course, the same guys who beat me then, beat me now as were beat me then. So, well, I'll be doing some teaching. So I started teaching around town, a couple of little driving ranges, Del Lago. I'm now at 49ers, so I teach out there and keep my name in the golf world. I don't compete anymore, but I compete against myself, trying to shoot my age. It's easier to shoot my age now because I'm getting older, so that's good.
Well, that's certainly an impressive life in golf. I know I told you before the program that I went out with Armand Artadian once when we were to Randolph, and after about an hour, I knew that my life would be with a ball like this and a hole like that. So, but congratulations.
Thanks so much.
Okay, our next inductee is Colin Porter. Colin was a starter on CDO's 1994 state championship team. He's an all Pac-10 outfielder at Arizona and went on to play professionally with several teams. You know, when you look at this guy, could you imagine pitching to him even today? I mean, you look like you could still go out there and hit it out of the park, buddy. How you doing? Colin is a part of that CDO, that channel of baseball excellence. I mean, you can interchange the parts, but it over the years, it's just been so impressive. The players, the coaches. I knew I was very good friends with Ian Kinsler's father, and I knew some other players. So, Colin, tell us about, well, you're a two-sport athlete, of course, but talk about your baseball career at CDO, being on a state championship team, and tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, sure. You know, like you said, CDO's got a pretty impressive legacy, I guess. You can kind of say it starts with CDO Little League. We had a group of us just played together for our whole lives. So getting to CDO wasn't as it was just another step, you know. It was just a good group of friends with just a lot of competitiveness, you know, always good. But it was more just growing up with the friends. That was kind of the thing you remember the most. Also the coaches, you know, and there's still coaches there that are impressive, and coaches sitting here today. It was awesome. So,
in your career at who would you say inspired you? I know we mentioned that you were a two-sport star. When did you decide that baseball would be your path, and who were some of the people that steered you on that path?
Well, I mean, obviously Coach Wright. He was our high school coach, and Coach Steele was our football coach, actually. So there was a little competition there, but I think I just saw for myself it was just a better. I got offered by the U of A, so I got to stay home. So that was probably the big deciding factor.
You know, a lot of kids grow up dreaming to be, you know, professional athletes, and of course, when you consider the number of people on this planet who have lived on this planet, and you made it to the major leagues. I grew up, I thought the sun rose and set on baseball. I mean, I'm way back there with Koufax, Mays, and those guys. Talk about how much the game has changed since you played Major League Baseball. It's hard for me to watch it because it's so specialized, but talk about that.
Right. You know, my son just recently went through he went through CDO Little League, played at CDO, ended up going to Long Beach State, and it is a much more specialized, the club ball scene, and you know, I played every sport I could growing up, and you could definitely see right now the younger kids are getting steered a little sooner to whatever sport. So I don't know. It's different. I don't know if it's better or worse, but I don't know. I think I prefer playing multiple sports, and then seeing where it lands. But I don't know, I guess that's probably the biggest difference is getting specialized earlier.
Yeah. I know when I was watching the game the other night and Snell was taking a place, I think in the 9th inning. I turned it off because I thought, let the guy finish it. You know, but I understand.
Guess you got to take care of those arms.
That's right. Yeah, it's all analytics and that kind of thing. But you're very impressive, Colin.
All right.
It's nice to see you. Good
Thank
luck. Okay, our next inductee is Tommy Steele. Well, I tell you what, no matter where we go, it's CDO all the way.
Yeah, a lot of good people.
A lot of great people. So you've been a coach, you coached at CDO for many years, and you coached football.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, we know about that pipeline of excellence, football, basketball. They've been great in everything. Talk about your career at CDO and
I'll go back a couple of years like that. Before we first came to Tucson, we came to Tucson because it's the only school district that didn't insist I coach football. I wanted nothing to do with football. I was told I sucked, and I believed it. So, wound up at Rincon. Art Acosta was the head coach there then, and he is one of the best human beings I think I've ever known in my life. And I hope he doesn't see this. But then I started thinking about this. You know, there was other people there: Bill Maley, Dick King, Andy Rumick, Howie was there. I mean, it was a pretty cool place. So yeah, CDO has a great. Thank you for acknowledging that. Great lineage.
yes.
I'll tell you what. There's a lot of other schools that do too. You know.
Oh yeah, I know about that. So.
Oh, okay. So then, I told you we were in trouble. So then we went to, I ended up going to CDO. We lived in Oracle, and I was driving to Saguaro a couple of times, 5 days a week to run a program out there. Ended up getting to CDO, not on purpose. The principal there was our principal at Palo Verde, and he called me up. Kemrys, Bill Kemrys.
Oh, what a legend.
He's a trip. Yeah, I love that guy. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. All these people who I'm listing off, I mean, I've been gifted these people in my life.
Yeah.
Went CDO, started coaching there, coached JV, first year there, and then ended up coaching varsity football after that. So we've got tremendous kids. We've done everything from, well, with Kadeem, we were, 27-1 one year. And there was another year when we had 3,000 kids in the school, 3,300 kids, and we were 0-10. Go figure that crap out. So, but yeah.
And my nephews, I have 3 nephews that attended CDO. Wayne Chandler, Tony Chandler, and Dave Chandler played football.
Dave Chandler.
Yeah, that's
a big name from the 70s. Was he on the state championship teams?
I don't know if they won it, but he played there.
Before that, yeah.
Yeah, before that.
Before that.
77.
So are you still coaching?
Depends. After I quit, I retired from teaching and everything. Then the next year, Eric Rogers, I was either going to go to South Point or Push Ridge. And I can't help myself, and I shouldn't say this, but South Point I just couldn't do. Despite the fact that some of my best friends were South Point folks, you know. But so I coached at Push Ridge for a couple of years, ran the weight program for a couple of years, and then our little kids coaching up in Phoenix. And so I drive up there a few times a week and work with them. That's fun.
So you stay around the game.
Well, here's the biggest game. This year, a buddy of my older kids was coaching at Coronado Junior High School or middle school, and he asked me if I'd help him. I said, sure, I'll just come out and take a look, maybe. Oh my God, junior high sports, I couldn't imagine. You gotta have that, whatever that personality is, you gotta have.
It's a different stage in development, for sure. Well, you've had a great career, and you've made an impression on quite a few kids. So Congratulations.
I really appreciate it. Thank you.
Okay, our next inductee is Phil Wright.
He does look like he can still play.
Hey, Colin was a hell of a linebacker in high school, I'll tell you that.
Okay.
I personally think he made a mistake by going with baseball, but his body is whole.
Colin averaged 9 yards a carry his senior year in high school.
Wow.
Seriously, he was better running back, I think, and he says linebacker. That's how big a player he was.
Yeah, well, you could definitely see it. Hey, so Bill, good to see you, buddy. You were a standout on CDO's 1979 state championship baseball team, and then you have the unique distinction of playing on a state championship team and coaching. That's rare air. That's rare air, and of course, I know what coaches say about talent, but there's some intangibles that go into it. I mean, I've seen some teams that had talent and they just couldn't get rid of the ego. So talk about playing on a state championship team and then coaching state championship.
Well, I think I was really blessed. I came from California my sophomore year in high school and got to come to CDO with a bunch of other great athletes. I actually played football also. But I played in 3 straight state championship games. So my experience, actually I always feel like I was the bridge guy at CDO because I played for Dean Metz, who was the original coach. His last year was my sophomore year. We got beat in state championship. Next year, Coach Werblow, Roger Werblow comes on, and he was our JV coach. He's our head coach, and we win the state title. And then my senior year, we probably had the best team in the state. When we had 4 of us went to the U of A, and we got beat in the state championship game. So even though you're as good as you can be, you're right. The best team doesn't always win necessarily. But anyway, that piece really probably put me in the mindset that that's what you do. Is you strive to go be as good as you possibly could be, and I was blessed. I went to U of A and played for Coach Kendall, and then went on to play with Coach Bingham at Emporia State. Was my biggest influence as a coach, and then got to come back and coach at 24 years old as varsity coach at CDO.
Wow. You know, I was when you look at again, you speak of that sustained excellence. I mean, of course, it helps to have kids like Colin and other kids like that, but it's really, it's just impressive to, that you played there and that you went back. Now, where has your path taken you since? What are you doing now?
I am retired now. I am newly married to my beautiful wife, Maribel Lopez. She's got as much energy and pride in Marana High School. She was actually a board member for 20 years and graduated from Marana, so she has to endure a lot of green and gold next month. So we're kind of battling a little bit about that. But I'm retired. We moved to Chicago suburbs for 20 years. I was a high school assistant principal for 15 years. But the beauty of that, because I was a head coach at such a young age, I got to coach my kids, and particularly my youngest kid, who was a Division I player, really elite athlete, and I got to travel all over the country being his club coach, and he got to play with multiple great players. So anyway, I was fortunate that I started young and then got to still coach along the way.
And an amazing footnote to your career, several players have gone on, like Colin and others, to the major leagues. That's amazing.
Well, I tell you, it's funny because people ask me that all the time. I was in the water or whatever. You don't realize that's happening. I mean, at that point, we have a bunch of kids going to play D1 baseball, and that was kind of my thing. I have as many kids that want to keep playing. This isn't the end all. It was important to me. If it was just development, then it kept their attention really well. So I mean, wanted to keep going, and they actually were all so competitive and they loved to play that practices were easy. They competed with each other, and they set their own standard. Those kids all the way through the Shelley Duncan days, and Chris and Kinsler and Anderson. I mean, every group was at an elite level once we got rolling. Those last 7-8 years, and then the 3 or 4 after me, that period of time
was just more than special. Who could turn around and go, there's 7 major leaguers all of a sudden, and 3 others making AAA. I played for Coach Anderson, and his son was one of our great players at CDO. So and he played at U of A. And so it was a weird time. It was unbelievable it was going on. I didn't dream it. I truly never really took myself that seriously, but I took the responsibility of being the CDO baseball coach very seriously. And it's kind of cool that it's kind of continued. What Jason's done now is unbelievable. I mean, they are who they are. And if you go look at that facility, there's still a lot of pride in that community. And I don't think it's going to stop anytime soon. You know, and one last thing, it's fun. The South Point CDO thing started on the baseball field in the early 90s. I'm telling you right now, it started on the baseball field. Ask Coach Winslow. We had absolute wars, and then it fed into the basketball thing. But the thing about the baseball is we were competing at the highest level in the state, and we had to get through each other and then go fight the big boys in Phoenix too. So, and we really helped each other along the way. And it wasn't just us. It was Saguaros of the day, and the FI, and actually Sabino, and the Cat Foothill started getting really good. So I mean, we helped each other in Tucson, and we had some great wars. But that South Point CDO thing it started in the early 90s. It was fun.
Well, I tell you, CDO is part of a great chapter in our athletic history in Tucson and the state. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Okay, let's meet the teams. The first team that I'm going to introduce is the Catalina Foothills 1996-97 girls basketball team who won the state championship with a 31-2 record, coached by Patton Schreier. Of course, when you hear the name Patton, that's athletic royalty. And today representing that team is Julie Brossi, who scored a few points in her career. Hello, Julie. Nice to see you. The state's leading scorer. So, talk about that team. I know you had a 31-2 record. Talk about the highlights of that season and the point at which you knew that there's a strong possibility that you could bring home that gold.
All right. Well, it was an exciting time. It was my junior season when we won the state championship. It was Coach Patton's second year coaching us at the varsity level. But something to be noted, Catalina Foothills was a brand new high school at that time, so that was our third year being a varsity program. So that was kind of cool in itself. The very first year we were varsity, we went to the state championship, and then the second year we went a little bit farther than that third season we won it. But we had a great team. We had a roster full of players that really embraced their role on the team. We had players that could score, we had players that could rebound, play defense, dive on the floor, get that loose ball. We all did it because we all wanted to win. We had just great friendships on and off the court with them, and we loved to compete, and we just wanted to win. So being 31-2, playing in Tucson, we were just rolling through teams. I mean, some of those scores were like 80-20, 90 to whatever. So I didn't get to play that much that season. Coach Patton was really good about sitting me on the bench and not blowing teams out too bad. So everybody got to play that season. So, but it was a special group, and Coach Patton was great for us. I mean, she was very tough on us, but she wanted what was best for us, and she pushed us every single day in practice.
Now, you were a scorer. I remember you. You had a target on your back. Talk about how it felt knowing that defenses were going to be geared towards stopping you. As a scorer, I mean, you have to have a mentality that I'm going to score no matter what. Talk about that.
Yeah, I'm sure my teammates loved me. I was probably a ball hog and shot the ball a lot. But yeah, I was double, triple team. But I had a great team. Everybody around me. If I gave the ball up, I knew they could score. I believed in every single one of my teammates. So basketball is definitely a team game. So if it wasn't for all my teammates, the coaches, everybody out on the floor, we wouldn't win the state championship, because we did face tough teams along the way that we needed everybody. So like I said, if I was getting double teamed, I knew I could kick it to Melissa, Sarah, whoever, one of my teammates, and I knew they would make a great play and be able to finish it, and that's what made our team so special.
Who did you all beat in the state championship?
We beat, I just had to look it up, we beat Thunderbird in the championship, and we won like 50-29. So we just kind of coasted that season. But playing in Phoenix, where the Suns play, where the Mercury played, you know, it was just special to be up in Phoenix and to win that state championship.
Well, you've had quite a career. You were with the Phoenix Suns organization?
Yeah, so I was with the Phoenix Mercury for 18 seasons. We won 3 championships there, got to coach the best players in the world. So Diana Taurasi, I'm sure you all know who she is. So got to do that for 18 seasons, and then when I graduated from Catalina Foothills High School, I got to stay at home. I played at the University of Arizona for Coach Bomancini, and then I went off and did the coaching with the Mercury, and now it's kind of full circle moment. I just took the job in April, so I'm back here at the U of A. I'm an assistant coach with the women's basketball team.
I have to mention, as a sidebar, Patty Patton played at Marana where she was a star. So
yes, and she comes from a coaching family as well. Norm Patton was a great coach in town, so I was really blessed to have Coach Patton as my coach because she knew basketball. She knew how to coach me. She really prepared me for that next level. I mean, I wouldn't be where I am today without Coach Patton, so she did a great job pushing me to be the best player I possibly can be.
Well, you have an impressive career. It's so wonderful to see you. Congratulations to your team.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
Okay, our last induction is the 1992-93 boys Sunnyside High School basketball team, state champions coached by Dwight Reese. Dwight and our neighbors that I know, you know, you're going to be here, Coach. We would have done a ride share. Yeah. Hey, I'll tell you what, I remember that team so well. I mean, you had a run there that was pretty historic. In fact, I was an administrator at Sabino, an assistant principal, and you guys, of course, played Sabino in the state championship game. And talk about that game, Coach. I was right there, but talk about that, to the season, how you got there, and then talk about that, you know, two Tucson teams competing for the championship.
Yeah, Sunnyside, during my tenure, had played in the state championship 2 times, and both times against Tucson teams. Pueblo High School in 1977, and then Sabino in 93. We had Sabino during the regular season at home, and you had a couple of big fellows, and one of them missed that game because of an ankle problem.
Brian Sodrawa. He's a big kid who could turn and boom, yeah.
So, you know, we didn't really see how good you guys were, but state championship games are different, especially if you got sort of equal talent, because both Sabino and us had played the night before, of course, on the road in Phoenix, and then we go in a big arena. Less than 24 hours later, we go from a night game to a 4 o'clock afternoon game. And so it wasn't going to be a well-played game. And we just competed really hard. But Tim DeMarchi, their coach, your coach, had a perfect game plan. He adjusted his defense, his zone, so that he was always head up on Jermaine, and he always had help. And our best outside shooter went 1 for 10 from 3. And so you guys had us. You were ahead 3, 5, 7, almost the whole game. And with about 2 and change left, you're up 7. And we're sitting 28-0, and I'm thinking, what the hell am I gonna tell these guys? Because at that point, we played like 29 minutes and we scored like 37 points. You know, I think it was something like, you guys were ahead 44-37 or something, and I'm just looking, it's so hard to score for us.
Yeah.
And we couldn't turn you over. We finally turned you over, got a bust out. We had a guy that just played outstanding during the whole state tournament. Hector Montano comes out, hits a three.
I remember.
And then somebody throws up an outside shot on our next possession. And Hector, among all the big guys, he's like 5, 10, 11, tips the ball in. And then, so we catch up pretty quickly. And now we're even with about a minute to play. And once we get even, all of a sudden the advantage is on us, because now we can dictate how they play defense.
Right.
And we were pretty good. When we spread the court, we weren't good as many teams 15 feet and in. But we were pretty good 40 feet from the basket if you had to guard us. Right. And with the lack of action rule, you had to guard us. And so we all believed in it, because the night before we played Flagstaff High School, and with like 2 minutes in the game, we took our first lead. We spread them out and we went 82-60. We like got scored 22 to zip in the last two.
Yeah.
And they had to chase us. But we made a mistake. We ended up tied, going to overtime, and then finally we prevailed. But it was real gut check.
You know, I remember in sports, there's a thing called separation. You coaches, you great athletes know what I'm talking about. There are certain players who can separate themselves from other human beings, okay? They go metaphysically beyond, and I remember in that overtime, Jermaine separated himself. He separated himself, and this kid was one of the few kids that I ever saw in high school dribble the length of the floor and just throw it down, like he looked like he dropped out of the sky. He could do it, Tim Dirksen could do it. I mean, there are several, not very many kids, but I remember in that game, I told one of the other administrators, I said, oh man, here comes Jordan. I said, it's over for Sabino. So that was a great game, Coach. That was a tremendous game, and I'm jealous.
Well, it wasn't a well-played game, but yeah, it was.
I'm jealous because I played on a team that is in the top 10 teams in Arizona State history. And we lost the game by 1 point. I'm still upset about it. So you guys ran the table. So that's an accomplishment. To run the table, to go 29-0. You even beat Pueblo, Jermaine's uncle's team, Jeff and those guys. They went 28-0, and you guys went 29-0. So that was a tremendous team, Coach. Great job.
Thank you. Thank you.
Congratulations.
It all goes down to 12 great kids. That's what we have.
You
and
bet.
one great player.